Donald Trump says more trade deals are coming soon.
We're working on probably 5 or 6. Of the 5 or 6, I'm not sure I really want to do them. You know, you want somebody that knows how to negotiate. But we'll probably have 2 or 3. You know, we insist on opening up the country, which is a big deal.
The US president spoke to reporters on Tuesday after agreeing one deal, this time with Indonesia. That will see the country's goods hit with a 19% tariff, down on the 32% that Trump had said the country would face from August 1st. US goods will be able to enter Indonesia free from all duties. Trump said Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick were now keen to land more deals. But he said he was happy just sending out notices telling countries their rate.
I have to tell you, for the most part, I'm very happy with the letters. You know, the letters are a deal.
Trump said letters would soon be going out to many smaller countries, which would face a rate of a little over 10%. Meanwhile, the EU is preparing to retaliate against the 30% tariff threatened for its goods. It's drawn up a list of US imports worth about $84 billion that could be targeted. That includes Boeing jets, bourbon whiskey, and cars. The list was sent to member states and seen by Reuters on Tuesday. It predates Trump's weekend move to ramp up pressure on the bloc, instead being a response to his earlier duties on cars and car parts. Like other places, the EU has until August 1st to negotiate a deal. European officials say the 30% rate would end normal trade between two of the world's biggest markets.
We will send them Patriots.
In a major policy shift, US President Donald Trump has announced a fresh wave of missiles and weaponry for Ukraine, including Patriot air defense missiles, which Ukraine urgently wants to fend off daily Russian missile and drone attacks.
He talks nice and then he bombs everybody in the evening.
Although the exact number of Patriots is unknown, Trump was clear that the European Union would pay for them. The Patriot, short for Phased Array Tracking Radar for Intercept on Target, is a mobile surface-to-air missile defense system. It was developed by Raytheon Technologies and is capable of intercepting aircraft, tactical ballistic, and cruise missiles. It's considered one of the most advanced air defense systems in the US arsenal and has been in service since the 1980s. A typical battery includes radar and control systems, a powerful unit, launchers, and support vehicles. According to Raytheon's website, it has built and delivered over 240 Patriot fire units, which have been shipped to 19 countries, including Germany, Japan, and Egypt. How it works depends on the type of interceptor used. The earlier PAC-2 interceptor uses a blast fragmentation warhead that detonates in the vicinity of a target, while the PAC-3 family of missiles uses more accurate technology that hits the target directly. It's not clear what kind of Patriot systems have been donated to Ukraine, but it's likely that Kiev has at least some of the newer models. According to NATO, the system's radar has a range of over 93 miles, or 150 kilometres. A newly produced single Patriot battery costs more than $1 billion, which includes $400 million for the system and $690 million for the missiles in a battery. That's according to the Centre for Strategic and International Studies, which says Patriot interceptors are estimated to cost around $4 million per missile. In January, Axios reported that the US had transferred about 90 Patriot interceptors from Israel to Ukraine. Ukrainian officials say they're essential to defend key targets from Russia's escalating long-range attacks. But Russia says it sees the Patriots as a direct escalation, and as in the past, said supplying more would delay the chances of peace.
I would like to reiterate that China has always believed that dialogue and negotiations are the only viable way to resolve the Ukrainian crisis. There are no winners in trade wars, and coercion and pressure will not solve the problem either. We hope all parties will work to foster an environment and build the conditions necessary for a political settlement of the Ukraine crisis, and do more to encourage peace and promote talks.
Mr. Daniel Gray and Mr. Adam Carruthers, I pass the same sentence in respect of you.
Two men who chopped down Britain's iconic Sycamore Gap tree were both sentenced to jail for more than 4 years on Tuesday. The much-loved landmark was estimated to be over 200 years old before it was cut down by the pair in September 2023. 39-year-old Daniel Graham and 32-year-old Adam Carruthers were found guilty last month of deliberately taking a chainsaw to the tree in the middle of the night. Prosecutors say this video shows the act, which they described as a moronic mission of sheer bravado. Authorities also say the pair filmed the crime on Graham's phone and bragged about it. Later, their friendship soured as public anger grew over their actions. Both men initially denied cutting the tree down. They later confessed to probation officers, with Carruthers' lawyer calling it drunken stupidity. However, Judge Christina Lambert rejected an account from Carruthers of significant drunkenness.
Mr. Carruthers, your account that you had had so much to drink that you had no memory of what you did that night is not plausible. The tree felling demonstrated skill. It required deliberate and coordinated actions by you. As Mr. Graham commented the next day, having seen a photograph of the stump, you didn't get a bad angle on the stump and the job seemed professional.
The dramatic silhouette of the Sycamore Gap tree featured in the 1991 movie Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. It stood in a deep valley next to Hadrian's Wall, a 2,000-year-old Roman ruin, and was a popular spot for photos, hiking and marriage proposals. Cutting it down also damaged part of the wall, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. There may yet be hope, however. Britain's National Trust charity, which manages the site, said last year it had found new growth in the tree's remaining stump.
Lebanon's largest reservoir is just a shadow of its former size, as water levels on the Litani River have fallen to historic lows. Experts describe it as the country's worst drought on record, threatening agriculture, electricity production, and domestic water supplies. The Litani River National Authority said inflows to Lake Karaun during this year's wet season did not exceed 45 million cubic metres, a fraction of the 350 million cubic metres annual average. Sami Alawiye, the head of the authority, says the water available measured around 61 million cubic metres, but was unusable due to severe pollution. He said the entire country is affected.
In Lebanon, there are approximately 4,000 springs, including 300 springs that flow year-round. Nearly 90% of these have completely dried up. We're facing a water problem, a water scarcity problem, and pressure on water resources across all Lebanese territories and all water basins.
Lebanon's hydroelectric plants tied to the Litani Basin have been shut down, causing financial losses and intensifying electricity rationing. In the fertile area in the Bekaa Valley, farmers like Safa Issa were feeling the impact. He says he has never seen such scarcity of rain as of this year, and wells across the area have dried up. The strain has been compounded by erratic supply of electricity needed to run irrigation systems. The state utility has slashed supply in some areas from 20 hours a day to as little as 10. The Ministry of Energy and Water in Beirut said a national awareness campaign to reduce water consumption would be launched within 10 days. A study by the authority found climate warming and shifting weather patterns have contributed to more frequent dry seasons and higher temperatures, exacerbating soil moisture loss and reducing the recharging of groundwater reservoirs.
From how Meta is set to spend big to why Nvidia is back in China, this is AI Weekly. Mark Zuckerberg is betting hundreds of billions of dollars on bots. That's how much the Meta boss says his firm will spend building massive data centers in the US. They're meant to drive its bid to win the race for artificial superintelligence. That's AI that far exceeds human abilities. Zuckerberg says the first new mega data center, dubbed Prometheus, will come online next year. Donald Trump gathered tech and energy executives in Pennsylvania to talk about powering AI. He trumpeted $90 billion in related investments in the state, and he set big goals for the tech bosses in the audience.
And that includes being the world's #1 superpower in artificial intelligence. And we are way ahead of China. I have to say, we're way ahead of China, and the plants are starting up, the construction's starting up.
Nvidia is set to resume sales of AI chips to China. The move comes after Washington and Beijing agreed a trade truce. Exports of cutting-edge chips had faced US curbs over fears they could be used by China's military. That had left Nvidia warning of billions of dollars in lost sales. Artist Refik Anadol has turned soccer star Lionel Messi's favourite goal into AI art. Viewers can move through the piece, which he says combines memory, data and emotion. Digital art expert Sebastian Sanchez at Christie's auction house says it's a new type of work.
It's really meant to be a sculpture. So you walk in the room and you feel, you're inside of the sculpture, inside of the memory.
And bots are taking a big role at the Pentagon. The US Department of Defense has awarded contracts to OpenAI, Google, Anthropic and Elon Musk's xAI. All the investment is aimed at developing AI agents that can tackle critical national security challenges.